he asked me what should I invest in. So in Kenya, I don't know if we can say with certainty that only a certain class, only a certain earner, only a certain level uses a stock market.
Didn't the iPod, particularly the Gen, the energy, Kengen, iPod, in the way in which it played in the market, was publicized by the media. Everybody thought they could make a quick buck. And they started, but is this sustainable?
No, I would say no. I would say no. Look, I can't look into the future. However, if we were to go back maybe 10 years, we had every .com here in America. We had every .com known at that time. They don't exist now. There are people that lost money. We got Enron stories. We got WorldCom stories. America's a different market. We kind of work through things, sort of, kind of. Depends on who you ask. I happen to have a job, so I'm like, okay, we work through things. But I do not believe that Kenya could go through such a financial bubble, even without the real estate crash that we had here. I just don't think that they can do that. You're right. They heard stories. I mean, this is what they said to me. We heard stories that such and such made whatever many shillings from Kenyan. Then they invested in Safaricom, and they didn't make anything. Mad. So that does not sound like something that I would put my stamp of sustainability on.
Just one more. Sure. The instruments you use in this research were focus groups, questionnaires, and interviews. Which of these instruments yielded the most robust data for your purposes?
Great question. I'll try. Do I have a time on this, or can I just talk and talk? I don't know. What can I do?
Okay, I'll withdraw the question.
No. Without question, the focus group. So it was a room similar to this, except of course, they didn't have any windows, so everything was pretty open, right? It is 80 degrees to me from being in Detroit. I'm hot, sweating. They are in full-blown leather coats, sweater vests, ties, buttoned up to the top. Sat down. I pulled out the tape recorder. Let me just say, English is spoken pretty much everywhere. That doesn't mean you can understand anybody, right? So I had to correct my accent, I would just say, and try to kind of listen to what they had to say. But once we got started, just like me, they wouldn't be quiet. I mean, they just talking and talking. Now, I will say, there were some dominant figures whenever you have a focus group that seems to happen, but I tried to bring it back to include everybody. But the most robust, that was it.
My questions are, follow on Professor Madawo's sort of concern. One of the questions have to do with the theory, the theoretical basis of your research. And related to that is the institutional question about the transference of stock exchanges and other Western, Western idea. Now, the whole of. Let me start off by saying, you did not mention the fact that, or maybe you did and I didn't sort of see it, that the entire capitalist system, or Western capitalist system, seems to be in disarray, or came under fire after 1908, 1907. You've had a massive international financial crisis, which has reverberated in Africa and elsewhere, and it's really followed from financial mismanagement, and the model which uses financial financial intermediation and stock exchanges as the engine of economic progress. After what happened in Wall Street and in London and in Tokyo and elsewhere, we are doubtful about the usefulness or the impact of what I call the finance-centric approach to development, which in your theory you mentioned. And the finance-centric approach basically says, well, it has three bases. One is the approach pioneered by McKinnon, Gorley, and Shaw and others, which states that financial markets in developing countries are repressed, the financial repression model, and what ought to happen is that you use instruments to end repression and make them, more like the financial markets in the developed world. To some extent, which is not the finance, and is the, I say not the Keynesian model of animal spirits, that the whole investment thing, that animal spirits are dimmed, as Keynes would say, both in the developed and the developing world, that there's something which is not motivating investments or creating a sufficiently buoyant investment class. And then there's post-Keynesian theory, some of it you mentioned, the Hicksian model of flex price and so on. So I have a problem about the extent to which the mainstream theory, as developed in the West, is adequately explains, right, what is happening in Africa and the developing world, first of all. And if not, what kind of new variables should be introduced into the analysis to make the theory more relevant to the developing world and Africa. Give you one example. Give you an example. I mean, I was involved with the Ghanaian Stock Exchange. So well, first I would say for those people who are not, I mean, a stock exchange as an institution is there to generate some money, which in turn would be used to develop the real sector of the society, new businesses and things like that. And I remember the Ghanaian case showed that after one or two days when the stock exchange opened and they floated the shares and so on, and all the shares were bought up, after 1 or 2 days, because there are not enough industry in the society to reflect the financial flow. So the whole structure was wrong. But let me start off with the the theory, it seems to me that even if, and it's not your fault that the theory is flawed, but at least you should mention what has happened in the present world. You know, the financial volatility which has taken place. It has undermined the old world system, which is based on the Western approach to financial development, and it's part of the long-standing debate. You see that theories which reflect the experience of the developed West almost never do not adequately capture the experience, you know, of the developing world, you know, in Africa. And my only point is that should be, it is something which needs more emphasis. I mean, you talk about some of the theories, but there's something which more and more in the minds of certain kinds of economists like myself think that the whole thing should be rethought, really. But I know that financial specialists from the West don't speak in such language. That's the first thing. But the second thing, I have a problem with the old model of stock exchanges as an instrument of development. So could you provide a justification for the stock market instrument as a necessary instrument for development? Because I know that in part of the transference of the model from the United States or England and elsewhere, via the World Bank and so on, which imposes this framework on countries, their financial development is based on the establishment of stock exchanges, and one wonders why that should be the case. So what are you a stock exchange fundamentalist? or what?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, right.
The likelihood is everything that you said
Yeah.
is probably why I kept leaving
Yeah,
finance.
right.
For the most part, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
I agree that the world model,
yeah,
the Western model,
yeah,
is not the only model.
right.
It's not. I think that when we talk about London, New York, Tokyo,
Yeah,
the model works for London,
yes.
New York,
Yes.
Tokyo.
Yeah.
When we talk about less developed countries, Malawi, Kenya, Namibia, whatever,
Yeah.
it may not work. So no, I would not say that. I could not stand here and say with even 50% certainty that the stock market would be good in those places.
All right.
The basis for my research actually, are there investors in Africa, specifically those two countries, and who are they?
Mm.
I think it would probably take another dissertation, which right now I don't want to do, to answer should those markets be in Kenya or
Right.
South Africa. So I actually do agree. I agree with you. I mean, I don't think that it is necessary. But because it's there now, can it do some good? And that's probably
Right.
where we should go.
Okay. All right. Well, one other question at this stage. You